Like Diego Maradona himself in his stoner days in Sevilla, Dutch footballer Quincy Promes arrived in Spain and immediately endeared himself to Sevilla's warm and smiling fans. After a successful spell at Spartak Moscu, Sevilla FC paid 21 million euros for the Dutch international, and he began to perform very well on the pitch, scoring goals and becoming a favourite of the fans. Promes, like a multimillionaire sheik, quickly endeared himself to all the Sevilla fans. And he went to low-quality restaurants like La Mafia se sienta a la mesa, and signed t-shirts for youngsters and paid for lunches and dinners for those present, and gave away iPhones worth more than 1,000 euros to teenage rats who wanted to be the new Ninja or the new Amaranth. They were unaware of the dark pretensions of the speedy flying Dutch footballer. The multi-purpose magician, as he was called in Sevilla. And he was more multi-purpose off the pitch than on it, because deep down the supposed kindness of the millionaire footballer was only seeking, as if he were Jesse Pinkman himself from the legendary TV series Breaking Bad, to get more clients for his real business, the one that made him the real money: drug trafficking. Despite earning more than 2 million euros a year, the insatiable Quincy wanted more and more money. And to do so, he teamed up with undesirable companies with whom he did business moving snow and other drugs through various bars and nightclubs in various European locations. Soon, the mythical, loudmouthed and aggressive director of Sevilla FC, Monchi, discovered Quincy Promes' evil ways and quickly found a way out after him playing just one season in the Sevillan shopping centre. No wonder. Monchi had been part of the squad in which Diego Maradona had taken drugs and doped like no other footballer had ever done on the banks of the Guadalquivir River, and he knew full well what crimes the star he'd paid 21 million euros for could be committing. Hiding these dark facts, Monchi quickly sold Promes to the most whore-ridden team in Europe, Ajax Amsterdam, whose sporting director was the wanker who sent photos of his filthy member to his work colleagues, and who allowed dopers like Andre Onana to be in his squad, or some of his young talents like Abdelak Nouri to end up in a coma after collapsing in a match, as long as his team achieved successes like reaching the semi-finals of the Champions League. And Quincy, unsurprisingly, performed on the pitches of the weakened Eredivisie, and also performed off the pitch with a meteoric rise to the top of the criminal empire. Just days after signing for Ajax in July 2019, Promes came close to murdering his own cousin after an argument at a family party held, mind, in a warehouse owned by Promes in Apkoud, a small town 14 kilometers outside Amsterdam. Very true Tommy Vercetti style, buying shitty properties in GTA Vice City to hide corpses. Quincy Promes himself denied the allegations at first, wanting to retain his superstar sporting status to act with impunity in Dutch society. But eventually he confessed in a series of calls made to other family members, calls that were intercepted by Dutch police. Best of all, if he had wanted to, Promes would have literally murdered his cousin. But other family members present there put their lives on the line to prevent the tragedy from being even greater. Specifically, Quincy stabbed the cousin in the knee, but he wanted more. In that phone call captured by the police, the Ajax winger literally said, "I should have stabbed him in the neck." As always happens in these cases involving high-profile footballers, justice is not equal for everyone. And despite the prosecution asking for 4 years for assault with the aggravating circumstance of attempted murder, Promes escaped prison with a sentence of just 18 months. Little did it matter. By the time of the trial, Quincy had fled his own country to the place where he is truly happy and cannot be extradited: Mother Russia. Vladimir Putin's paradise, where criminals like the tax dodger and drunkard Gerard Depardieu, or cokeheads Jean-Claude Van Damme or Naomi Campbell move like a fish through water in exchange for a little promotion of the bounties of Leningrad and Siberia. It's also the paradise of our delinquent, Quincy Promes. We'd already mentioned that before signing for Sevilla FC for 21 million euros, he played for Spartak Moscu. Well, the wanker Mark Overmars, eager to get rid of the guy who imitated Yao Cabrera's stabs, but in real life, sent him back to Spartak Moscow for €8 million, losing more than 10 million in 1 year, but avoiding further tarnishing of the good name of the Dutch club. And in his Russian paradise, Quincy continued to commit crimes as if he had all the impunity in the world. While he was, once again, happy playing on the cold fields of the Russian steppes, Promes quickly returned to his shady nocturnal business, and, despite being a very recognizable character, he decided to go to a Moscow police station in 2020 to try to get some drug-dealing friends of his out of jail. In the video you're watching from that dirty Resident Evil police station, Promes spoke to the cops, arrogantly so, thinking he was superior to them just because he was a millionaire for kicking a ball 4 times in a row. And when the cops refused to comply, Quincy tried to bribe them with money. Yet another crime. But the authorities wouldn't be bought like those cute teenage morons in Sevilla. Just why was he so keen to free his drug-dealing friends? Well, now we know why. In the same year, 2020, while still living in the Netherlands, Promes was involved, together with some of those friends, in drug trafficking operations. And we're not talking about a few small grams here and there, but 2 gigantic shipments totaling 1,300 kilos of cocaine. Drugs valued at more than €65 million that Promes and his gang would use to get even richer by distributing it to the most succulent nightclubs in the city's red light district. Quincy wanted to be the biggest drug dealer in history. He wanted to make transactions all over the planet, thanks to his privileges as a footballer. But he can no longer do it. He has been sentenced. Mind you, laugh amongst yourselves. It's a total of 6 years in prison in the Netherlands, and that for moving such gigantic quantities of drugs, something that would not happen in most countries worthy of the European Union and the West. But that's not the best of it, for Quincy is not going to go to jail, at least for the time being, because obviously the relations between Russia and the European Union are not at their best. And Putin is not going to allow an extradition deal for a footballer who has not committed a crime in his country and who is still scoring goals, like an incredible 25 goals in 37 games during the 2023 season at the ripe old age of 32. I mean, a guy who almost committed murder, who was dealt in quantities of drugs that in other countries would mean life imprisonment, and who tries to bribe the first person who passes by, he's free, and he can walk down the street, albeit a cold street in cold Moscow, and he does so quietly and possibly doing the odd bit of late-night business. Oh, isn't it really disgusting?